Let us create the function and then if you can answer it, let's see. So to create the function, the syntax is create or replace function, function name, and the function name I'm specifying is display month. Okay, and we need to write as. Then we have to define the parameters d1 and d2 I have fixed. uh, then we are taking months between, I mean the difference of months, so months between d1 d2, and instead of displaying the output, what we are going to do will return the value. Okay, so let me write here return I. Okay, return I will return the value when the function will be called. So the data type of I is what? It is float. Fine. So whenever we are going to define our function, we need to define the prototype also, which type of data it is returning. So here we need to specify create or replace function, function name, return float as. Okay, so this is additional here, return float, and then you can declare the variables, you can write your execution commands process. Okay, and then the value will be returned. Fine. So this is my function. Now let us create this function. It's a simple function which is uh, written to find out difference of months between two inputted dates. Okay, so it is showing function created. Now again, to call the function, there are two methods. One is by writing the calling block, which we know how to do it because we have done it for a procedure also. And second thing is, as we write execute command to call the procedure, here we need to write select statement to execute the function. Okay, so I'll show you both these methods. First, let us write calling block. So for calling block, we have to write declare. Then we are going to declare the variable. Let's say j, and which type of variable it is returning? Float type. Okay, so we are going to define float type of variable here. Then we'll write begin, and then we'll call the function. Fine. Now see, here what is written? I is equal to months between d1 d2. This is also a function, as you can see, and this function is with two parameters and its data type is date. Okay, the parameter which we are passing is of date type, but the value it is returning is of type float. I is float type. Okay, so always this function will return some value and that value should be stored in some variable. So we are going to store this value into j variable, and I'm writing j is equal to, what is our function name? Disp underscore month. Okay, so this is my function which I'm calling, and it returns the value which is stored into variable j. So now we need to display this variable here. So dbms underscore output dot put line, and will display value of j. Okay, so it is displaying j is equal to 12 because this date values are fixed in this. Fine. Now second method is by writing the select statement. So see, if I want to display system date, then what I write? Select sys date from. Now sys date does not belong to any specific table. So there is one table, there is one virtual table of Oracle which is dual. The name of this table is dual. So dual table has only one row and one column, and it is used to execute the functions. Okay, so we'll write select sys date from dual and it will display system date. So same way we can write select and then our function which we have defined. So this is the function that we have defined, this disp underscore month without parameter. Okay, and you can write select display month from dual, so it will display the value after execution. Okay, so this is clear how to call function using select statement. Fine. So there are two methods, one is using select, another one is using calling block. Let me write here. Now suppose this function should take parameters instead of fixing the value of variables. So we can pass this parameter here in function name. So we'll define d1 date, d2 date. Okay, and I'll remove this from here. I would be same because the value that will be returned by function should be passed in variable I. So I have defined I. If you don't want to define I, then you can directly write return months underscore between d1 d2. That is also valid. So let me show you that way. You can directly specify return here, return months underscore between and d1 d2. Fine, but the return type is what? Float. It is float. Okay, so when you are writing this calling block, you have to define float type of data. And here we'll have two dates, date 1 and date 2, and those dates should be defined here. So date 1 is type date, date 2 is also of date type. Okay, and everything else will remain this. Let us create this function again. But now this function is with two parameters, right? So whenever we are calling that function, we need to pass two parameters, like here we have passed. Okay, and let's execute this calling block. Okay, now it is not asking for the value. So what is the problem with this calling block? Tell me. It is not waiting for taking inputs from the user. What is the problem with this?
Ma'am, we have not provided that end person.
Yes. Okay, so we have to write n%. Only then it will read the value. So now I'm defining this.
Ma'am, we could also provide that in the declare statement, right?
Yes, yes. You can provide that in declare. Yeah. 1 minute. Huh? This should be written into single quotes. And second date. Okay, so now it will display the answer. So is this clear to you all? Okay, passing parameter in the function. Now when you are writing select statement, same thing you need to do. You will have to pass two values here. Okay, I have removed the values, so I'll write two values. Okay, and then if you execute this function, then it will display out.